So, my random question of the day, Jamel and I were talking the other day, and we were talking about tattoos. And so I wanted our random question to be about tattoos because even some people that I have talked to, it's like I know what my thoughts are on tattoos. And I know that different people have different reactions to tattoos. So that's what I really want to talk about is Katie, I know you have tattoos and I know you've had reactions from people about your tattoos for sure, because that was one of the things that Jamel and I talked about. It was like when you have tattoos on the face, people react differently than when you have tattoos on other parts of the body. So I don't know if you wanted to talk about it or not, Katie, but I wanted to go ahead and put you on the stage and ask your thoughts.
Um, I do agree 100%. I do get some looks and some comments sometimes on my tattoos. Most, it's not, I don't think it's shade against anyone. Most of the comments and like nasty stares that I get are from older people. They are just kind of like, what the heck? Like they'll see me and they look at me and it's not a pretty look. So I've also have gotten into some situations where somebody like has assumed less of me and I actually have an incredible background. So it's like it's kind of it just depends on the people, I guess, but I definitely have had some trouble just for having tattoos on my face, just the assumption that I'm like not the greatest person, which is wrong because I'm complete opposite. So it kind
Oh,
of sucks, but yeah.
It is what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're gonna go to Clint.
hmm.
Since well, no, we're gonna go to Jamel. Well, do you have tattoos, Clint? I guess I have never asked you that question. I think that you and I are the only two without tattoos, or do you have tattoos?
Who?
Clint,
You,
Me?
Clint.
If
Clint.
I have tattoo? Oh, when you started out saying tattoo, we also call a animal a tattoo back in the Caribbean and Trinidad, which is an armadillo. We eat it. We also hunt it and eat it as bush meat. We call that tattoo. So when you mention tattoo as in body, then that's where we're going.
Oh.
What do you want to know? What's my opinion
But
about
do
it?
you have tattoos?
Oh, do I have? No, no.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to Jamel and let Jamel speak, and then I'll go to you, and then I'll come to myself. Okay, so we're gonna. So Jamel, take the stage. What are your thoughts on tattoos?
I love them. I love tattoos. I'm inked up myself. My pretty much my whole back is done. My chest, my abs, and my inside of my arms. And the reason why I put them on the inside of my biceps is because if I have a shoot or something, and I have to have on a tank top, then at least, or if I have shoots where I'm just working with my hands and forearms, then they like to have that area just clean. That way I can still continue to do my job as efficiently as I can. Yes, having tattoos on my back and chest does give me a challenge for some athletic stuff because some clients want a clean body and some clients want well or don't mind having a person that has ink on their body. I say ink, but you could call it tattoo. Just depends on who you're asking. But what a lot of clients don't know too is that you can always have your ink covered. It may take a little bit, but it can be done, and you could still be work as any other model in the industry or actor in the industry, depending on what it is, and also depending on where you go. Yes, you're looked at differently just because they think that you're part of some type of other organization, if you get what I mean. Especially over in like Japan, if you were to go into like the masseuse and bathhouses, then you're excluded from a lot of those, and you're only able to go to just like a select few. So just to give you some information on that. But for me in general, yeah, I love ink, and I plan on getting more. I have some lined up in the moment. So Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go to you. So it's called ink. It's not. So when someone says tattoos, you know that they're not a person
Yeah.
on
You'd
the
be like, are you?
canvas,
You'd be like, yeah,
correct?
I'm ink. I'd be like, yeah, I'm inked up. So yeah.
Okay, so Clint, what are your
Hmm.
thoughts on tattoos?
Number one, I never think about getting them because I don't like pain. I'm afraid of needles. And number two, I grew up in a household where, my parents are very old school. Even at and they are Caribbean people. Even at the age of 18, I used to get my ass whooped. So they wouldn't allow it. And that's the direction they carried me. And my opinion about it, I think that it's a kind of like a risk. I feel that's my opinion, because most tattoos they all come from the same gene pool. You might find someone else with the same exact tattoo what you got, and once I think I put a tattoo on my body, I think that I am branded for life. Let's say, for example, people like to say all black people look alike. Let's say, for example, a black guy who has some sort of criminal record. That's how I see it as. And he walk in and he break into a bank, rob a store, whatever, and he has a tattoo. What probably I have. First thing they're gonna identify. Oh, he has a tattoo. They're gonna get a description of the tattoo, and I have the same tattoo like it. So then I could be mistaken as mistaken identity because the person got the same marking like what I got, which goes back to the movie Set It Off,
So
when the
Clint,
guy took the mark behind his head and because they mistaken identity. So
so
that's
Clint,
my opinion about it.
what I want to do is I want to ask you a question and delve a little deeper. Why do you think people get tattoos?
I think it's art.
It is art.
It's creative. It's
It's
creative. It's
also it's
artistic.
also it's also an expression of their emotions too.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
But,
and,
but
and
but the only thing I think some people go a little too far, where they're gonna have the whole face tattoo like a sleeve, and you can't see the face at all. They
can
look
I
like an
ask you a
alien.
question, Clint?
Yeah,
Can I ask you a question, Clint?
go ahead.
If you had 5 films that you were starring in, would that be too much
I think
in
that
a
would be
year?
too.
In one year, if you have 5 films that you were starring in one year, would that be too much?
I think I'm. No, I'm now.
If you
I'm
had
now.
10, would that be too much?
I will always want more because I'm the type of
Right.
person.
So take that same attitude and now think about the many ways that people in life express themselves and about the canvas that the body is.
But
How many
I beg to differ. What you're
really?
talking about, I beg to differ because what you're talking about that is goals.
That is
Um,
what?
what you mentioning about what if I was thinking about going for film a year, whatnot, that's a person goal. When you're talking about tattoo, I wouldn't compare it the same. That's your body. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but I'm talking about the same way you were saying that you want to express yourself.
Mm. I
Some people,
consider that art.
some people express them.
I think in some people's case it's an addiction. That's when they go too far with it.
Well, I have a question for you. When a person expresses themselves, how can that ever go into an addiction? Because at some point with the body, you're gonna have to stop. You're gonna run out of canvas space. You
Some
can't
people
create more
find
body parts.
they find
Unless
some
you
they
have
find
it
they
unless
tattoo
you have
over
it
tattoo.
I was gonna say unless you have it removed and then replaced it with something else.
Hmm.
Well,
But
when you talk about pain, you know, I think that that's the reason why I wanted to bring this subject up because what I wanted to say is that people express themselves in all kinds of ways.
right.
And we learned long ago that you don't judge a book by its cover.
No.
Hmm.
You don't judge people by what they choose to do with their body to express themselves. It's art, it's a form of expression, and it's something where if you see two people with the same tattoo who have no connection to
That could
people,
strike a conversation.
well, I'm saying they can strike up a conversation, but their reasons for getting their tattoos would be very
Yes,
different from,
correct.
let's say, Jamel's reason or Katie's reason.
Mm,
You know,
And here's another one, Clint, too, is that depending on the person and how they
mm.
are, each tattoo may have a story behind it.
I understand, and that I respect that, and I love that. I consider that as creative and express, very
And
express. Yeah,
sometimes if they don't want to express it vocally, they'll express it in an artistic way with ink or
but
whatever they want to,
my point is where they
however
go
they want to express it.
overboard is that some people they just want to
Well, look at it this way, Clint. Look at it this way. Imagine you meeting someone and you're a nice person, but they're just not attracted to you. Now
mhm,
imagine meeting a person where you see no color, you see no face, you just looking at their personality, their characteristics, how they carry themselves, their heart, and they're fully tattooed, but they're a beautiful person. What would you say to
mhm.
that?
Number
Besides
one,
the next person that's next to them, which is
no, number one,
they're
I look beyond the physical. So basically, I don't care about the exterior of a individual.
okay.
Um,
But I do understand this point.
mhm,
Depending on in the working industry where you want to apply yourself,
right.
yes, they're gonna look at that differently because
You're gonna be
they're
judged.
they're
Yeah.
they're well, yes and no. They have a brand and a reputation that they're trying to keep, so they're going to find people that's going to fit in their brand and keep that same reputation, if that makes any sense.
I
Mhm.
agree. I
Bec-
think Clint is meaning the boundary. Like if there, I think it becomes an addiction once it becomes a priority.
mhm,
But for some people who actually have tattoos, it actually becomes a pro because I mean, like, and you have to think about what exactly you're trying to shoot for your career, what you're doing as a living. Like Jay said, like I'm in the position to where I can do it on my face. I'm able to do it because I actually
mhm.
this is actually helping me. You know, this is what gets me
Hmm.
attention and
Right.
where I'm suited
Right.
for modeling. But I know that also if I wanted to work at a bank and stuff like that, you know, this may not be who you want to, you know, give your money away to. It might be a little questionable. So I understand, and we
Well,
should
so
not
far
judge.
you haven't gone overboard. Your face, I could still see your beautiful face, Katie.
Oh, yeah, this is it.
I
No
could
more.
still, and there's nothing. Makeup could hide most stuff, whatever you put on. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
talking about some people they actually cover their whole skin tone, and
Yeah.
it's gonna make it even more difficult. I'm talking about people who tattoo their whole face to look like a reptile.
well, a lot. Well, but
Oh,
Clint,
yes.
That's what I'm.
That,
That's what I'm talking about.
just to interrupt, and we're gonna wind this down in a little bit so we can move on to the show. Um, a lot of times when you find people who have tattooed their entire face, it is about spirituality, it is about their culture, and it is about their religion. So that in their culture and with their devotion to their spirituality or religion, the whole face tattoos is something that's accepted. And every one of those tattoos on their face, as well as the ones on throughout their body, have a meaning. And their whole purpose is to cover the whole body as a way of giving themselves over to their religion and their spirituality. So, you know, I wanted to talk about it here because when it comes to film, the main thing I wanted to take away from this is a person's tattoo should never take away from them being able to work on any project because
correct,
makeup can cover tattoo. I worked with a
correct.
model when I was doing professional photography. I worked with her for like 3 years, 3 whole years before I knew she had a tattoo. She knew how to she knew how to cover up her tattoos. She knew how to prepare for different jobs that she did with different photographers. And when I found out she had tattoos, that's when we were able to find even more work for her because wow, you know, that was quite a few years ago when tattoos weren't as prevalent. So it actually resulted in her getting more work. So when it comes to tattoos, I really admire them. I'd never get one only because that's a personal choice. But I really do admire them, and it would never stop me from hiring someone for a job. But I know other people have a different point of view.
And if you look at our society now, tattoos are pretty much a household name now. It's like something that people just do. Yeah, they might not have the smartest choices on what they decide to get put on their body, but you know, if that's what they feel that they believe in strongly in, then that's what they're gonna do.
Well,
You know?
my last thing on it, and then we're going to move on, is that back in the day, people used to say, "Oh, you want to get a tattoo? Well, how is that going to look when you're 75 or
I
85?"
I'd be like, well, I'll just pull this out right here. Be like, look, you know, yeah, look at that. It's still nice, isn't it? It still looks fresh, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's going to expand into other territories. But with that being
Uh,
said,